What happens at Grandma's stays at Grandma's is a model for you and your grandkids. If it's fun, it's fair game. But lately, hip pain has you grimacing more than laughing. And that's the moment you realize life's too short to put off treatment any longer.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care, with hundreds of joint replacements each year. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better. The Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 625, Amanda's Diary, entry 9.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine, and this is my diary. Well, it's a diary episode, which I went back to look when's the last time I did one of these episodes, and it was July 1st. So at the beginning of this year, or actually the beginning of 2020, I thought I was going to do a lot more of these episodes, but, let's see what 2021 brings. So this is just going to be talking about where I am personally, Amanda Valentine, in my own health and wellness journey, my mental health, my career, etc. So if you have no interest in that, then go ahead and skip this episode. That's cool. Not going to hurt my feelings. That's fine. That's why I have interviews. I try to get a wide range of different topics and things on this podcast. But if you're interested in me, well, here we go. So if you're brand new to this podcast, thank you so much for listening. I would encourage you to go back and listen to a whole podcast about like how I got started and losing my weight and all that stuff. So I started my weight loss journey at the beginning of 2012 as a New Year's resolution. So here we are 9 years later in a global pandemic, and your girl is battling depression. But I will say it's going much better. If you listen to some earlier episodes from a few months ago, I talked about just having depression and, 2020 is a brutal year. It was, I think we can all agree. We all had some wins. We all had some losses, and it was, it's pretty brutal. And 2021 so far is also equally as interesting. So, I actually just got off of a Zoom call with the therapist that I'm talking to that is prescribing my antidepressants. So I've been on those about 3 months now, and it's going good. So I will say that I am glad that the clouds have lifted a little bit. It's not perfection in any sort of way, but I feel like there's color in life again. I don't feel like I can't accomplish anything. I don't have very dark, harmful thoughts. I'm just feeling more like myself, and myself, like all of us, has ups and downs. And I've been dealing with some pretty brutal stuff with my therapist, just about past traumatic things that have deeply impacted my life and that I've ignored for a very long time, that I'm kind of coming to terms with, which I hope to talk about on this podcast when the time is right. The time is not right yet. I'm getting there though. So it's just been, a lot of mental work for me, of just getting to a place where I'm feeling good. And I think with the help of the antidepressants, I do think make a difference. I even had in my Zoom call today, I was talking about, I don't want to be on these that long. I want to use this as a tool. Like, this is a tool in my tool belt to feel good. Because she was talking about upping my dosage, and I'm like, I don't want to, feel like I'm in a place where I can't have these. You know what I mean? I'm like, I already have a pretty intense caffeine addiction. I just want this to level me out, get things on the right track, and I want to get off of them. That's my own personal preference. Everybody's different. I'm not shaming or hating anybody, whatever your thing is. That's just my feelings in the moment. So, but I feel like that's been helpful. And just so many other things in my life right now are going really good. That's helpful too. One of those is a huge thank you to Shelly at Shalates of doing Pilates. Is very helpful for my exercise routine, and also introducing me to Megan Springer Deck, who is also just on my podcast as a physical therapist, who has been incredibly helpful of getting me out of pain so I can move more. So that over the past several months has been a game changer too. So if you are already new to my journey from the past year, last January, I don't know what I did, but I triggered something where it felt like it just yanked my like lower back, my butt, like almost like a sciatica feeling. I couldn't lay flat. I couldn't lay on my stomach. I couldn't lay on my side. Sitting, like everything was painful, like hard pain. And there was no exercise or movement to get out of it. And it was just brutal last year. So my exercise routine went to nothing for a while, which is also not great for the mental health and also not great for the old bod. So being in a place now where I'm exercising a lot more right now, my routine is I'm doing Pilates at Pilates twice a week. Absolutely recommend, whether you're in Cincinnati and you want to do a reformer class in person, which is what I do. The reformer has been amazing. Or you want to do mat classes, and Shelly does virtual classes. Also cannot recommend Megan Springer enough either, of just helping me get my body in a place where I can move again. So also, I just got done doing a spin class here in the same room I'm recording this podcast with, this very noisy, rusty bike I got from Facebook Marketplace. So I can do exercises like that now without going into pain, which I was trying last summer. Wasn't in pain when I would ride the bike, and then I would try to fall asleep at night, and I was in so much pain I couldn't sleep. I was popping ZzzQuil just to fall asleep almost every night. It sucked. So I'm so happy to be doing Pilates, being able to do some cardio again. And I've also been working on strength training again. I've been doing strength training 2 to 3 days a week, but also really focusing on exercises that strengthen the problems in my hips and my legs that I'm working on in physical therapy. I am working on all of my physical therapy exercises and stretches every single day. So I do want to make that point. I know Megan was upset she didn't get to say that in the podcast, that one of the reasons I'm having great success is I am making it a priority to do every day. And I will say, in the past, I haven't always done that because doing physical therapy exercises sucks. It's not fun. And so I'm like, I was so brutalized by freaking pain last year. I'm like, I whatever I got to do at this point. I do not want to go back there. That was terrible. I enjoy moving my body, and I'm getting a new balance for myself too, of going from never exercising in my life to losing weight, mostly walking, then doing couch to 5K, doing tons of running and hiking, and then going to strength training and hitting it hard. And then being shut down to now finding a balance of really redefining my exercise, or my balance with exercise. I'd say that if 2020 did anything for me, it's really try to recalibrate me and rebalance of what's important and how I eat and how I move and all of those things, and to not take those things for granted. Because if you've ever had an injury, you know that when you can't do anything anymore, it's no bueno whenever you hit that hard stop sign when you could have chilled out when it was yellow. You know what I mean? Like when you get a yellow light, slow it down. Take it from me, from experience with that. So yes, incredibly grateful to be able to move my body more. Also, shout out to Sarah from Sarah D Fit With Me, who's been helping me with meal planning and stuff like that, because I'm going through a reverse diet right now, which means I've been slowly upping my calories to find a maintenance calorie. So it's basically to find what calories, what macros I'm at, where that my body just needs to stay put, to stay in maintenance, to not gain or lose weight, which for me is a tough place to get to, because everything in my body from years of conditioning is just screaming at me, lose weight. And I'm like, I can't just eat in a caloric deficit forever. So just from last year kind of just really knocking me on my ass, and I'm, I did a whole podcast about this too, of just asking for help. Sarah's been very helpful of just, I just like having the eyes on me. You know what I mean? That's the power of a good coach. She's been watching me. She's, really pay attention to what my body's doing every week. I do weigh-ins every week. I do measurements every week. I do pictures every week. So it is a very detailed, what we do in here. Let's, get your metabolism in a right place. Let's get you in a good place before we cut and dip down some calories or lose some weight or whatever my goals are, which I do want to lose a little bit of weight because, gain some of that COVID weight. I'm not going to lie. like I said, last year sucked. And so, and my coping mechanism tends to be food. And yeah, last year, battling with this depression, I just reverted back to some old habits, which is you don't feel good, but food will make you feel better. So that's been fantastic too. Been working with Sarah, also same like almost 3 months now. And so, I've maintained and I haven't gained any weight, but I will say that especially like in the past week, I have just felt leaner. You know what I mean? Like not that I want to feel skinny, but I just feel, I think it's the combination of everything, of being able to exercise, doing Pilates, which is making me stronger, strength training, which is making me stronger, eating, getting my metabolism on fire and working for me. You know what I mean? It just like everything is like, finally, everything feels like it's clicking a little bit. Not that I want to jinx myself, my God. But in this moment, I'm feeling really good about where I'm at currently and know I'm on the right path, and I'm really working on patience, which is part of any journey, which I'm sure is part of yours too, of like you want things to go a certain way and you want them to happen on your timeline, and it absolutely does not work that way. So I just know that it'll get there and I'm feeling good and, more good days than bad days. So that's been really awesome for me. Also something I'm incredibly excited about, which I have not talked about this on my podcast, or I have not really talked about it at all on Instagram. Also redefining my relationship on Instagram, or on just social media in general. And I'm about to do some fun social media stuff and kind of rev this engine a little bit here in the next probably month or couple months. So I, over the past couple months, have really been doing a deep dive and preparing to be a personal trainer at Cincy 360 Fitness with Josh Garrett, who has been on this podcast a billion times. So I took my certified personal trainer exam and I passed on the first time, which I was freaking excited about. So I've heard so many people are like, hey, I failed the first time. Don't worry if you don't. I read this entire textbook, over 700 pages, cover to cover, read everything on whatever online I needed to do, every NASM video. I paid for an additional app to do all sorts of study questions and flashcards and practice tests. And, I just kind of did that without making that public because it just felt like that, I don't know, it just felt like it's just was for me. And that was part of the plan before COVID hit. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to train people in person. I don't know what this is like. And, 2020 just, was a year of reflection. And I really got to thinking, which I'm going to have Josh on this podcast. I'm hoping like next week or so to really talk about this more, and what my role is going to be at the gym and stuff. But I was like, do I really want to do this? Do I want to move forward with this? And kind of really thinking about all the plans I did have going into 2020. Because again, if you're new here, I quit a 20-year radio broadcasting career at the end of 2019. I chose not to renew my contract and to leave my radio show here in Cincinnati and pursue a career in health and fitness. And long, crazy story about a lot of stuff I can't talk about on this podcast just because I just feel like it's probably smarter not to. But, got to keep this podcast, which is incredible. So incredibly grateful that I was able to keep and own this podcast because I didn't always own it. And, I had plans for what I was going to do. I started my own LLC, Amanda Valentine Bites. And, going into 2020 is this like, I just started my own company. Let's start a whole new career. And here comes COVID. And so it's also was, okay, well, half the stuff I had planned, just you can't do. There's no traveling. There's no speaking engagements. There's, half the crap that I was going to do, just can't do. And so, or even at the time, in-person personal training. Hey, the gym's closed for a couple of months. So now what? So thinking through all of that, I was like, do I want to pursue personal training? And I was like, you know what? I really do. I mean, the whole reason I want to do all of this is connection. That's the whole reason I ever wanted to be on the radio, is I just felt connected to the people on the radio. They felt like my best friends, even though I never met them. And that's why I chose that career path. And that's why I'm choosing this one of connecting, whether you're just listening to me or you email me or you DM me, or now if you come personally train with me or you do health coaching with me, which I'll get to here in a second. But you know, I'm like, to have that in-person connection, I feel like is so important. Like, I love recording these podcasts in person, which was also taken away from COVID. And it's just a different vibe when you're with somebody in a room, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I feel like we're all so super starved for that connection right now. So I'm like, I want that for this to be a personal trainer, but also for a couple other reasons. I was like, why aren't I doing it? And I'm like, because I'm really freaking scared. And I'll be completely honest, it scares the hell out of me, because it is really starting a different career from scratch. Like, I went from my radio career that I started when I started volunteering when I was 16 years old, and I was obsessed with it. And I worked multiple jobs, and I did I moved all over the country. I've been all over the place. I've done, you know, I've had so many morning show and afternoon co-hosts. I can count them on 3 hands. Like, I've done some things. And I felt like, for me personally, in my own goals in my radio career, like, I achieved everything I wanted. I got everything I wanted out of my radio career. And so from going to that, you know, winning awards and having the ratings and all of these things of like, I can come in and do a radio show with my eyes closed, like literally, like I can just come in, like put me in front of a microphone and turn it, I'll figure out something, even if it's never a station I've ever been on before. So going from where I feel like this is my environment to, I have never worked in a gym. I'm still figuring out my own fitness. You know what I mean? Of like, I am starting from, I don't know human anatomy that well. And to be able to coach others is just scary. And taking that damn test is intimidating. If you've taken it, congratulations, dude. That's freaking awesome, because it's not easy. And it's not easy on purpose. I just don't want any total tool bag coming in and being a personal trainer. And so, it's just a lot of fear. And I'm like, but I usually face fear head on. And I'm like, is this worth facing? And I'm like, yes, it is. So I had a meeting with Josh several months ago, and I'm like, if you want to have me here, I really want to move forward with this and, train me to be a trainer. And so that's what, not only taking the test over the past several months, but I've been shadowing all the trainers there, which I could not be more honored to join this gym, which is a personal training gym. So you can't just go and work out. You have to work with a trainer. The most talented, kind-hearted people I have ever met, and I have met a lot of people at the gym, of Nick, Leah, Whitney, Josh, Adam, Chelsea, like everybody there is amazing. And I have so much to learn from them. I want to just be a sponge and learn everything. So I've been shadowing, I've been watching them. I've had friends come in that have been my trial clients, and been working with them. And Josh has shadowed me while I'm working with other people, which I'm still in the process of this week. I'm still doing that. And so it's been like, it's been like going back to school, and like, I really want to learn this. I really want to do a good job. And I really want to help people, feel good in their own body. And it's not about like, let's get jacked, or always have to be like, let's be less person and lose weight. Like, let's find good, healthy ways to feel good in your body. Like, I just worked with a friend yesterday. She was having a rough day, came in, and she's like, the emotions are high. And I'm like, well, let's tailor, let's work on your exercise of like, let's get you feeling good. Let's get some emotions out. Like, let's get your body moving. And like, that was just awesome for me. I'm like, oh my God, of like just movement and working this out, and, because we all have bad days of, I don't know, it's just incredible. And I cannot wait to do that more and meet new people. FYI, Cincy 360, Like there's not packed. It's not like, and I know some of you are listening in areas where you're like, gyms aren't open here now because of COVID, but like this is an environment, especially after working out at the Y, which happens to be right next to my house. If you've seen my trash can selfies on Instagram, the environment there versus the environment at 360, I'm like, oh yeah, nothing against the Y. But I would much rather be at 360. Obviously, I'm not going to work there. So we are still in the process of like, when are we going to get like, people can, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh snap, I live in Cincinnati, Amanda would be my trainer. When I have Josh on the podcast, we'll talk more about that and the process of working with me, and also, know that I'm just a newbie and I am not the person that's going to come in there and act like I know everything because I definitely don't. And if you listen to this podcast, I hope I have never get off that impression. I don't know how I could have. I'll be the first to tell you I don't know everything. But that's what's awesome about this environment is at the gym is so many people there are so knowledgeable that I can be like, hey, help me. And they're the most helpful, amazing people. Can't say enough good things, which is also, if I've been talking to Josh and other trainers from Cincy 360 Fitness on this podcast since the end of 2018. So, obviously got some history there. So that's been going on with me. So I'm going to do that, but I'm also obviously still going to continue this podcast. I have some other ideas of maybe some different ways to do some cool, fun stuff with this podcast this year. Considering that there's not something other like a meteor hits or whatever crazy thing could happen this year. You know what I mean? But that, and then just like the health coaching that you hear me, the little tag at the end of it, like, health coaching. So I do have some clients now, and I've kind of put that on pause because I wanted to work on, becoming a personal trainer and doing all of that. And I do not want to shortchange anyone in any way. I want to make sure that if you are going to work with me in any capacity, that I want to give you my full attention. You know what I mean? Of like, I want to, if you're willing to ask me for help, I want to be able to give you my help. So I know a lot of people, which thank you so much, have asked me about that the past couple months. And I'm like, just pause right now. Which I'm hoping to kind of get that. I'm just going to see how that works into the schedule once I start training in person, and hopefully things get less COVID-y this year. And we can I have so many like fun ideas that, I had before COVID hit of things of, just like cool, fun events and just like empowering things and ways to move our body and, meal prep classes and all sorts of fun stuff that, hopefully can kind of start getting worked into the mix. So everything I'm kind of still doing now, owning my own business and all of that is still going to exist in tandem with the gym, which was kind of the first thought process anyway of me kind of jumping into this whole thing that I have. I've never run a business before. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I'll be honest with you, I'm freaking terrified to see what the hell my accountant has to say with my taxes, because I'm like, I am such a mess. Like I with especially like budgeting and stuff like that. I mean, this is all just my own problem. This is not anybody else's problem but my own, where I'm going to be like push my QuickBooks and all of my stuff over to my accountant and be like, oh yeah, you figure it out. So I'm probably not going to make any money this year because that's all going to go to you to figure out my mess. Maybe it won't be that bad, but I'm just, thinking the worst will happen so I can be pleasantly surprised if it's not that painful, where he's just like, geez, woman. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Which again, shout out to any entrepreneur, small business owner. That ain't easy. And it certainly ain't easy in COVID. My heart has gone out to so many people I'm such a huge supporter of small business anyway, of just watching people struggle and just trying to, support local coffee shops. And, my husband's been supporting local breweries and trying to feel like, please don't close. Please keep, our neighborhood thriving the best ways we can. So, and I'm just a one woman show over here doing everything by myself because I can't even imagine dealing with employees. So yeah, I can't even imagine what kind of nightmare that has been for other small business owners. So yes, support local, support them business owners. It's been wild. It would have been wild anyway without freaking COVID. Like I was already scared to death. And then it's like, okay, well, all you got to do is just keep on trucking, right? You just got to figure it out. I mean, that is life, whether it is a weight loss journey or a health journey or starting a business or starting a new career or whatever. It's just kind of like you jump on in and you figure it out. You just learn how to swim and to survive. And, you know, it's just, I've been, now that I'm kind of, you know, the clouds are clearing from some depression stuff and getting my body moving again and feeling, you know, very good about where I'm at with my own health and wellness. Just now I can kind of see everything that I've personally done in the past year. And, you know, it's exciting to be in a place where I have to sit back and be like, yo, you got to be proud of yourself. Because I don't give myself credit a lot. And I feel like we all do that. And especially when I was studying for the certified personal trainer test with NASM, that I was like, I'm going to be so freaking proud of myself if I pass this test. If I pass this test, we're going to have the biggest party ever. I'm going to drink all the champagne. I'm going to get up on a table and dance because I'll be so proud of myself. And then I passed the test, and then it was just kind of like, yay, cool. And I'm like, what happened to the Amanda that said that we're like going to be so proud of ourselves and we're going to party and woo? And I'm like, I was still just like, well, what's the next thing I got to do now? Okay, well, here's next on the list of like, I'm trying to catch myself in those moments of like, damn, celebrate yourself for a minute. Like, it's not super narcissistic. Like, I feel like it's like, oh, well, you know, don't pat yourself on the back. That's gross. I mean, sure, it can totally go to a douche level depending on who you're dealing with and then what the action is. But it's like, no, like when we have those wins, like, you know, if you like hit a weight goal, you hit like, you know, a PR and you've been able to do an unassisted pull up or whatever it is, or like, damn, you just ran a mile, holy crap, or whatever it is. Or like, you know what? I said I was going to drink this much water every day and I did it. Whatever it is, then you get to that moment and you're like, yeah, on to the next. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of learning of like, I need to have more of the yay moment for myself instead of just being like, well, you did it this time, but can you do it again, dumbass? God, we're so mean to ourselves. So I've been trying to reflect and being like, man, you just got through a brutal year in so many ways. And I have 4 certifications on my wall now. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like that I, you know, left another career. And in the past year, I have certified personal training certificate. I got certified as a nutritionist and nutrition coach through Precision Nutrition, which also was a very lengthy process. And also my NASM certifications, I have weight loss specialist and behavior change specialist, which for me, and maybe you're in the health and fitness thing and you're just like, that ain't no thing, Amanda, I don't care. That's fine. For me, I'm like, holy crap. This is the chick that purposely took extra band classes in high school so I never had to set foot in the gym. I wanted nothing to do with any sort of exercise. I would go places with my husband when we first met, and I would refuse to walk up a set of stairs to see a beautiful view in Ithaca, which Ithaca is gorgeous. You know, at Cornell and stuff, like, you know, hey, let's go up to the top of this hill and look over the lake. And I'm like, yeah, no, your girl doesn't do stairs. That was me. I mean, I'm the same person that did all that to like, holy crap, I have 4 certifications in health and fitness. I'm going to be a personal trainer at a gym. I'm helping other people with their weight loss goals. Who is this bitch? Like, whoa. Of like, you know, to sit back and be like, oh my God, like I've been on my, you know, health and wellness weight loss journey for 9 years now, but still like, it's just like, damn, that's crazy to me. Like, it's just crazy. And I, I have to sit back and I have to be proud of myself for that. And if you're hearing this and, I know it. I know no matter what your goals are, whether it has anything to do with health and fitness or not, you've achieved goals. You've hit milestones. Like, did you give yourself the credit that you deserve? And if you didn't, well, here's your opportunity now to just be proud of yourself, because it's important. It's important to, see how far you've come. And even if you slid, like, let's just use weight loss again, because, a health and fitness podcast, that, let's say you gained all your weight back in 2020, instead of just trash firing yourself and being like, well, I suck and I couldn't do this and whatever. Like, no, it's just be like, well, you survived, didn't you? That's something to be proud of. Like, there's, if you like, that's what you needed to do to get through that hellish year, then congratulations. We all made it. We're breathing today. We woke up this morning. That is a reason to celebrate. That's awesome. And I don't think that we sit back and appreciate those things enough. And that's just something that, I've been focusing on, working on gratitude journaling. I've been trying to journal more of just like thoughts and feelings and taking those moments of like, you did good today. There's some good stuff going on. And so that's my diary entry. That's kind of what's going on with me right now. That's where my health and wellness is. It's kind of, mental and physical and career path stuff. And, I'm just really excited to see what's next. And, I just like, it's just for me right now, it just is unbelievable of like, I can't believe that I'm going to be a personal trainer in a gym. Like, that's just the wildest thing you could have told me. And you know what? I think for most of my life, people would have been like, Amanda Valentine wants to be on the radio, which people did say that to my face. And they're like, you ain't on the radio. You don't even talk, because I was so shy and introverted, which I still am, just in different ways. But like, yeah, like people would like make fun of me of like, you're going to be on the radio? Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Of like, I can't even imagine for most of my life telling myself like, you're going to be a personal trainer one day. I'd be like, oh my God, are you smoking crack? Like, what? There's no freaking way. You are insane. So again, just being open to the flow and see where life takes you. Could have never predicted this for myself ever. It's just, but it feels good. I'm going with it. And, I'm excited that you're taking this journey with me. Because I'm excited to see where it goes next, ups or downs. You know what I mean? It's all just part of the journey. And I'm so grateful that you listen to this podcast or follow me, or you've bought any of the crap that I put out. My cookbook, which I do want to work on doing another one. Also, the people I've partnered with, a Coffee Emporium with my coffee, and also Frying Pig with the Bite This Bagel seasoning, which I legit eat almost at every freaking meal. So if you haven't tried that yet, all that stuff's at my website at AmandaValentineBites.com. Also, shout out to Paul Brinker, who designed my website and helped me try to come up with a business plan when that wasn't his job at all. I hired him as a designer for a website. And again, just so many good people that you meet that will help you along your way. And at this moment of recording this, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling hopeful. We'll see where it goes next. And if you are interested in personal training with me in person in Cincinnati, it's Cincy 360 Fitness. You can just reach out to me, specifically Amanda at AmandaValentineBites.com right now. I do want to have a podcast with Josh, and we'll kind of talk more in depth about that, and get his insights on watching me be a personal trainer over the past several months. I'm sure it was... Actually, I'm really curious to hear what his opinion is on that. I don't think it'll be bad. God. We'll see. And then, just kind of then get the ball rolling on that, and then dip more into the virtual world, and hopefully do bigger, better things with this podcast and social media, etc. And that's it. So again, thank you so much for listening. Appreciate you very, very much. If you could rate and review on iTunes, that is incredibly helpful. But the most helpful thing that you can do is share this podcast. I mean, really, that's my main mission. Is I just want to help as many people as possible, give as many resources to people as possible. That's why I have guests on this podcast and share my own personal journey in the help that it make you feel not alone, or to give you resources of somebody that maybe can help you along your journey or give you some good information. So if you could, share this on social media or just with family and friends, any groups that you're a part of like, hey, I like this podcast. It's not about porn, even though it sounds like it's porn. That would be awesome. And I'll talk to you later.
For info on health coaching and more, go to AmandaValentineBites.com.